Cool. So we are recording. Thank you guys who have joined us. Got a great little turnout here today. I'm in lovely Prague, K10. It's beautiful. Jordan in South Africa at the Cartel House. Two of my favorite workspaces I've ever found. And yeah, you're joining us for, I think this is the 34th knowledge drop, 35th. Anyway, we've done a bunch and it's exciting. And yeah, so if you guys haven't ever joined a knowledge drop before, let me just go through the housekeeping real quick before I pass it over to Jordan. But basically, there's a chat box here in the bottom. Make sure it's set to all panelists and attendees to if you guys want to chat with each other as we're going through Jordan's slide deck. And then there's also a question and answer box. So if you have questions that come up during the knowledge drop, feel free to put them in there just so you don't forget them. And we'll get to those at the end, hopefully with the last 5 minutes or so after Jordan gets through a slide deck. And as I just mentioned, this is getting recorded, so it'll show up in our knowledge drop blog archive that has all the previous knowledge drops as well. So feel free to go in there, scroll through, see what we've done in the past. And then you can find Jordan's if you want to share this with anybody in your networks or watch it again after we're done here today. So without saying much more, let me pass it over to you, Jordan. And I'm excited for you to get into this, man. Let's do it.
Awesome, brother. Let me grab the screen. Let me know
Pop
if you
that
can
screen
see
share.
it. Got it?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining today. My name is Jordan Carroll. As Travis said, I'm with Excelsior, which I believe is actually the first 4-month program on Remote Year. So really excited to be here with the Remote Year family to be talking about something that's really, really near and dear to my heart, which is relationships and just understanding how to navigate the world when we live in this digital age, quote unquote. I've done this talk a few times in different circles. Are you able to see my screen yet?
It says it's still loading.
Okay.
This must
cool.
be a really dense deck.
Yeah, no, it's not really. So I've given this talk a few different times, and it's been given it over the course of an hour. I've given it over the course of 45 minutes, and now I'm going to try and fit it in to 25 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, I think what I might do is just go through it this way if that's not going to work. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and pop them into the box. Travis is going to be moderating that for me. And what we're going to do is at the very end, go over that so that we make sure that we get through everything.
Try present mode one more time. See if that button works.
Okay.
Maybe it just was doing something weird, but.
There we go. Okay, cool.
There we go. Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, really what is this about? It's how to build authentic connections, cultivate existing relationships, and make money in a world that's batshit fucking crazy with technology. I hope I'm allowed to swear. So networking in the digital age, what is about to drop today? Well, I want to help you set yourself up to become a magnet for luck, opportunities, and money. I want to show you how to integrate quickly into communities around the world and also provide value first in relationships. I want to show you how to maintain relationships that are meaningful to you across the world. In us being all part of Remote Year, we are establishing these relationships in such a short amount of time that it's really effective to use tools to your advantage and little tactics and techniques to your advantage to make sure that you're really keeping in touch with those people that you meet in such a short time span. Why am I qualified? Well, I left my corporate job, like probably many people in Remote Year, and quickly generated 6 figures of revenue and sales across multiple different industries and companies that I was either consulting for or working on my own companies. And that was within about a year span. I created a weekly video series that has amassed hundreds of thousands of views. And that's not to say that the vanity metric is like hugely important to me, but what's really come is opportunities for speaking gigs, client referrals, people that have joined my email lists, and I've even gotten dates because I post content with my weekly video series, and it's kind of interesting. So really, whatever you need, it's out there if you use these things the right way. And then locational independence with meaningful and borderless relationships. I've moved 16 plus times in the past decade, and now it's every month it seems like I'm either going somewhere else or figuring out where else I'm going to go. And it's really fun to be able to like set up dinner parties in places that you don't live or connect with people and figure out how to stay in touch with others. So we're going to go into that. And to start, I want to frame your mind like everything else in your life. You need a strategy with networking. The internet itself provides so much information overload, right? We have so many tools to connect us to other people, but yet we're so disconnected. And without a strategy for networking in the digital age, it can be really stressful because you just feel like there's so many things that you have to do. It can be very uncertain where it's like, what is actually going to lead to the right types of people? And it can feel out of control where at the end of the day, you feel like your effort is wasted. So real quick, I wanted to see who's in the audience, get a sense of what might be most important. So what's your definition of networking? And what is your number one goal with networking in the digital age? Let me know in the chat. And please give me just a couple of quick examples. And I'd love for Travis to start letting me know what's in there because I cannot see what people are actually writing.
So far, it's people joking about how this knowledge drop is about getting a date.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah,
that was me actually. I made that joke. But all right, first, Mark's saying to have meaningful and functional relationships.
100%. Yeah, it's a good one, Mark.
Making and nurturing connections is another one.
Awesome.
Our very own Trish. Let's see if anybody else is brave enough to type in here. All right, we got some more. Connecting with people, finding the hidden opportunities.
Absolutely. All fantastic. And
we got a couple more. Staying in touch without spending too much time in it, and connections in general. Yeah.
Perfect. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today, and you'll notice I use a lot of dog memes, use a lot of GIFs. And if you don't like them, then you can go ahead and leave the webinar right now. Because if you don't like dogs, you don't like GIFs, we're probably not going to be friends, but that's okay. Networking. So my definition is really just simply the power and the ability of your relationships to provide you what you desire in your life. So the internet makes relationships omnipresent. It's not just in person, but it's on different social media websites. It's through email. It's abundant and it's authentic at scale. For the first time, we can really have authentic relationships that don't have to always be in person. So a big key here is build your network and your relationships when you don't need anything from them, because then it's actually genuine, and provide value without expecting anything back. And the more often that you do that in your relationships, the more often that you'll see those hidden opportunities. Whoever had mentioned that one, those things will just start coming to you. So I also view networking as really the solution to any challenge. Now, again, you don't have enough clients, network more effectively. If you don't have enough friends, network more effectively. If you don't have enough dates, network more effectively. All these things can be solved by networking better. And really the formula here at the bottom is intention with what you're doing to network, plus effort, and then consistency equals the results that you're looking for. So really, NITDA, networking in the digital age, is a mindset. And it's a mindset to say that every interaction that you have, no matter what omnipresent location it is a networking opportunity. If you're in the back of an Uber pool, if you're DMing your crush on Instagram, if you're talking to a stranger at the Dubai airport bar like I was a few weeks ago, which I'm sure a lot of us have had layovers in Dubai or Korea or wherever it is that we're going around the world. There's just so many opportunities to go and figure out how to pet someone's dog. A lot of these things will resonate with you because these are interactions that you have, but maybe you're not looking at them as an opportunity. You're maybe looking at them as kind of this transaction. And really, it's like, why not start a conversation sometimes? And why not figure out, like what this person's all about with no other intention or expectation than to just build a genuine relationship, because you never know where it will go. Misconceptions about networking. One is that networking only happens at networking events. That's false. We just talked about the fact that it's every single interaction and it's omnipresent. Two, it's all about who you know. That is not the case. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. I know Joe Rogan. Does he know who I am? No, of course not. So he wouldn't do anything for me. And there's probably no way to even get in contact with him. So it's all about who knows you and who you provide value to. You shouldn't network with your competition. Well, I am much more in a frame of mind that you should be collaborating with all types of people in your industry and not look at them in competition. Look at what you do unique and look at how you could provide value to other people, and don't worry about the competition. Four, the larger your network is, the less authentic your relationships. Again, authenticity is now scalable. You can scale your relationships. You can have a lot of relationships that are all authentic. Five, vulnerability is weak. I am a huge proponent of vulnerability. And sometimes this might put people off, but that's okay, because that might not be someone I want to be friends with anyway. But really, you have to open yourself up to people to get them to know who you are and for them to be vulnerable to you. Your business and personal life have to be separate. That is not necessarily true. You can integrate parts of your business life and your personal life. If you just think about anyone who works for a remote year, they're traveling the world working for this company that has amazing values, and they're integrated within all the community, and it's something that you can bring to the table. Destiny will bring you the people you need. I don't think that's the case. I think that often you have to put intention and effort into the world to bring the people you need into your life. And then lastly, that people are inaccessible and unwilling to help. False. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help because they've also received help. And you should be a person who is also helping people. So my first recommendation here is that you should develop a target persona based on your personal goals. So not all connections are created equal. Life is way too short to spend it with the wrong people. We're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So you should be avoiding people who have no relevance to either your interests, your goals, your hobbies, your values as a person. And if they don't have social capital, if you can't provide them value and they can't provide you value, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, why are you associating with this person? That's not to say that you should judge everyone right away and that you should just scoff and walk by everybody on the street, but it's to understand that when you're going to be intentional about setting up relationships that are going to be valuable in your life and you're going to be valuable in theirs, that you really want to understand this concept. So who is going to help you achieve your goals, and who can you also provide value to? There's a couple examples of target personas here on the bottom. Maybe say you wanted to be a knitter. You wanted to learn more about knitting. You'd find someone who hosts knitting meetups so you can build relationships in that community. So develop one based on yours. And then the power of intentional engagement. So now once you have these people in mind that will help you get to your goals, engage with them and engage online with content and posts that are aligned to your value and goals. The biggest problem I see with engagement online is that it's mindless. And we've all probably experienced this, where you're just completely, non-conscious, and you look up and you're like, holy crap, how long was I scrolling through my Instagram feed of all these food pics and all these people doing CrossFit or posting their workout for the day. So really be intentional about that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you can do that tactically in a couple of slides. I'm going to talk also about some specific platforms and what you can do on these specific platforms that you might already be doing or you might not know about. So Facebook, even though Mark Zuckerberg, we all know he's a robot and he sells our data, Facebook is still one of the most valuable companies in the world. And one of the really powerful things with Facebook is Facebook groups. If you are not currently in any Facebook groups that are targeted to your niche or your hobby or your interest, one of my homeworks is to go and find one, because Facebook groups is the best platform for groups of any of them that I've seen. Location-based search. So in order to keep in touch with people that are in your network, you can actually type in the Facebook search bar, friends that live in blank. So being that we're all travelers and we're always around the world in different places, we might find ourselves in situations where we have long layovers or we have to stay a night somewhere, whatever it is. Go into Facebook, and you can also do this in LinkedIn, and filter and say, friends that live in Cape Town. That will give me a list of people that I'm already connected to that I can message. And that's great because you can set up impromptu coffees, dinner dates themselves, or like dinner parties or meals, whatever it is you want. And you never really know what comes out of that, because you may find yourself alone in the city and you don't really have anyone to go to dinner with, whatever it is. You do a quick search on that, and now all of a sudden you've got someone to hang out with. And that's kind of cool. Messenger has higher open rates than email, and many studies have proven that. So you can use Messenger to your advantage, either with chatbots or just messaging people that are in these active groups that I was talking about before. Send them a message and say, hey, we're in the same group. Love to hear about your thoughts on this post or that post, whatever it is. Instagram. So Instagram is specifically, an aesthetic type of platform. But it is more than just, booty models, Instagram models, whatever you want to call them. I love to use Instagram to keep in touch with people and by responding to their stories, or also putting my stories out there. And if you're not using Instagram stories to do that, maybe you try it out. And you can also mute people in the top of the stories, and you can make sure that the stories that you want to see are showing up on the top. Hashtag hunting. Now, hashtag hunting is searching different hashtags within Instagram to find out who is in your niche and who is someone who is posting content that is relevant to you. And that could be important because if you have a product or a service that caters to individuals, so B2C especially, but B2B does also work. New users on Instagram, 60% of them find new products on Instagram. 70% of Instagram users are more likely to make mobile purchases. So to drive traffic to your blog or drive traffic to your products, Instagram is a great way to do that, as well as find new people to talk to DM, or to do stories and keep in touch. LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is one of my favorite. It's my favorite platform. If you're not using LinkedIn right now and you haven't used it in a while, the platform has changed a lot. It's not an online resume anymore. They want to be Facebook for professionals. And I've noticed that there's a large stream of people that are very social that maybe are taking some of their time that they've been spending on Facebook and now bringing it to LinkedIn because of that huge data breach. But really, I mean, we all check. If we're in a business relationship, I think or doing a job interview, whatever it may be, I think all of us check people's LinkedIns, right? So you really need to optimize your profile, for one. For two, it's great to do targeted outreach and connections. So when you are looking at that target persona that we were talking about earlier, you can filter so many different ways to filter within LinkedIn to find those people, even with the free version of LinkedIn. And then what I would always recommend, if you're using the free version of LinkedIn, even if you're not, a good way to get around the in-mails, so LinkedIn actually forces you to buy messages if you have the free one. A good way to get around that is to connect with someone and then add note. But you should always add note to your LinkedIn connection requests, because then that gives a person a relevant idea of why you're trying to connect with them. And always lead with value or something that maybe they'll be interested, or a compliment. Let's say I get 100, maybe 50 to 100 requests a day, and probably I'd say less than 1% of them have a note. So if you really want to stand out, add note. It's a really great way to build your thought leadership and get organic engagement. LinkedIn has not monetized their ad platform in a way yet that discourages organic engagement. So Facebook, for instance, whenever you post, you have to really pay for a lot of people to see it, especially if it's a business post. LinkedIn's not like that right now. You can post and a lot of people in your network will see it, and it's driving a lot of engagement that way. Slack. Now, of course, I would be remiss to talk about Slack, because the most valuable Slack I think all of us have might be the remote year Slack. And if you're not using the remote year Slack to look at the different things going on in the community, you definitely need to. When you go to different cities, definitely pop into the different cities and say that you're going to be there. Try to set up meetings, talk to people, and just have fun. No expectation, right? We're all very like-minded people that are traveling the world. To use this to your advantage, I feel like I would almost pay for remote year just to have access to the Slack, because for instance, in the general, just yesterday, there was someone had posted about a speakership opportunity. Someone had posted about an opportunity for press in Fast Company. So all these things become great opportunities for you and your business, or just even in your individual life, to talk to people, make more friends, go on dates, whatever, to reach out to people. And there's also industry-specific groups in your niche. Now, if you go to standuply.com/Slack groups, there's a huge list of other Slack communities. So if you have a particular industry that you're in and you want to connect with other people in that industry, that's a great way to do it. Offline. So tech, honestly, is just a tool, right? So the whole point of a powerful online presence and using networking in the digital age to your advantage is to bring it offline. So find local events to go to, volunteer. There's a lot of PI stuff in remote year, positive impact. Look at the city calendars, go to meetups. There's events at the workspaces. The city teams have great ideas for where good events would be. Try to find an attendee list or hashtag hunt. Again, we're talking about hashtag hunting again, for warm intros. So the more people that you can talk to that are going to an event and talk to them before the event, the better, because you go in with a couple of preloaded conversations. You know that you're going to at least meet a couple of people that are within your target persona. You can also do that on Twitter for conferences, for instance. So if you search on Twitter the hashtag of the conference, all conferences have hashtags. People post there in advance. They say, hey, I'm going to blah, 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 excited for blah, blah, blah. And then if you find those people, send them a DM. Say, hey, I loved your profile. Here's what I like about your thing. Would love to meet up, have a coffee with you. Always prep at least 3 talking points or interesting questions. Don't ever ask, what do you do? That is a really frustrating question for a lot of people. You'll eventually get to what someone does in the conversation. But I'd say if you're in person, I always like to ask, like, what do you love to do for fun? Or ask them something like, what kind of passion projects do you have going on right now? Get them to talk about something they really like to talk about, because a lot of people don't like what they do for work. This one, especially for introverts, if you are an introvert, make sure you get to an event early. And if you get to an event early and you get there when just the host is setting up, like offer to help them out or have a conversation with them, see who's coming if they know, and you can get introductions that way. And always stand near funnel points. So stand near where the food is, stand where the drinks is, kind of stand off to the side so you're not right in front of it blocking it, but naturally people will be coming towards you. So then you don't always have to push yourself at people. Forget business cards as well. Like, business cards are not really that great. Don't be like a Lloyd Christmas, just handing out a bunch of business cards. Try and make like 1 to 3 good connections per event. That's really all you can do. If you try to scale it to like 50 people, it's just not going to be effective. So add people on Instagram, add people on LinkedIn, get their phone number, whatever it is you need to do. Sometimes I like to even take a video with the person and send them the video. If the conversation goes really well, it's kind of a fun way to do it. Pull techniques. So these are things that you can do to pull people towards you. So oftentimes when we push ourselves or our message out in the world to try to network with people, that's great. But how can we do that in a way that also pulls to us? One of them is guest writing for blogs or publications. There's so many different blogs out there in different niches that need content, but it has to be good content. So don't be submitting like really crappy writing. Like, you could even have someone on Upwork write you an article for like $5 or $10 that is specific to your niche or whatever it is, and then submit that to people as yours, and you can do that. And then over time, you can use some of those smaller blogs to get to bigger blogs. Create relevant educational videos in your niche. My video series that I'm doing is going on 38 weeks right now, and it's just awesome because of the people that I'm pulling towards me, or the people I want to talk to. Like, people DM me all the time saying, oh, this is, I really like this part of this video, really part of this video. Do a speech or a presentation, do a knowledge drop. The remote year community and other communities want to hear what you have to say and want to learn from your expertise. Always have something to invite people to. So whether you are hosting events or hosting a dinner or hosting workshops, or you're the person that hosts game nights, be that person who has always got something that you're planning, and you're not always just following what the group does, but like plan things and then invite people. And that way people will consider you the person who is pulling people together. Connect across platforms. So if you have people in that Facebook group, for instance, that is super specific to your niche, go on LinkedIn and add them all. Like, you can do that. You can also like scrape all of their emails or their LinkedIn data from that Facebook group. There's different ways to automate that. And then you can find all of their LinkedIn, or you can just message them. Say, hey, what's your LinkedIn? Or search yourself. And then thoughtful comments on relevant posts. So remember when I was saying to be intentional about your engagement on content? Well, you should be, not just liking things, but leave like genuine, thoughtful, insightful comments. And sometimes you'll be surprised. Someone will reach out to you and be like, hey, your comment really resonated with, I've had that happen to me. And then all of a sudden people are, contacting me. And these are all pull techniques to pull people towards you. Now, habits, these are quick things that you can do each day, each week, whatever it is for you that's going to work, that you can systemize. And I actually block times off in my calendar to do these things, because otherwise, life gets hectic and you might just not do them. But when you set yourself up to do these at consistent times each week, over time, results just happen. So my favorite one is, we all have text message threads, or we all have message threads in our email. We all have message threads in our LinkedIn or our Instagram DMs, Facebook messages, whatever it is. Scroll to the very bottom and do this each week. Pick 3 people that it's like you just fell out of contact. It doesn't, you don't know why. It was just your days went different ways and all of a sudden you stopped talking. But go all the way back down in those threads and be like, hey, how are you? What's going on in your life? It's been so long. and just be consistently doing that to keep in touch with people. It's really a great way to do it. And you'll always be known as that person that's just like keeping in touch, and it's really cool. And have no other expectation, but you'll notice that when you have no expectation, things will actually happen. You'll start getting opportunities, or someone will tell you about a project that they're doing. You're like, oh, wow, I can help you with that. Also, each week, if you have, 2 different connections that should know each other, like reach out to each of those people and say, hey, I've got this so-and-so that you should meet. Can I put you in touch? And once you get the opt-in from both people, which is very important, make sure they both agree, introduce them, and do that on a weekly basis, and introduce new people to each other that should know each other because they can provide value to each other. Give a random compliment to someone you admire. And I have like what's called a Hail Mary list. So I have people, that I follow that I throw Hail Marys to. Like they're never going to respond to me, I think, but you just never know. Like send them a compliment about a blog that they've written, or respond to one of their newsletters in their email, or just give someone a compliment who writes on a blog that you really like. And if you do that once a week, you'll just be surprised with, some of the times like good vibes will either come back your way or that person will actually respond. Clean your feed. Now, a lot of us have feeds that we've followed people over time where it's like, how did this person get into my feed? Go through and make it a practice that when you're looking through your feed and you see something completely irrelevant, inappropriate, something you don't want to see again, unfollow that person, and just be consistently aware that you should be unfollowing people and taking out people in your feed that are not relevant or beneficial to you. And then lastly, the 5-minute favor. This is great. I try to do one of these a day if I can, if it comes up across my plate, whatever it is. A lot of people just need 5 minutes of your time. And if you can give someone 5 minutes of your time each day and do something selfless, like it will come back to you. So just, don't even think about it. If someone asks you something and it's like, oh, it's going to take me like 3 to 5 minutes, I'll just knock it out real quick. Homework. So giving you a lot of stuff, a lot of information. You can rewatch this. Always feel free to get in contact with me on this Slack or email, whatever it is. But commit yourself to a mindset of awareness of the abundance and the opportunity that's already at your fingertips right now. Develop a networking persona, message 3 people on LinkedIn, go down to the bottom of your text threads, message 3 people just how they're doing, build that Hail Mary list of people that you're going to compliment, clean up your feed, compliment a stranger about their content or about something that you like about what they're doing, find a Facebook group or a Slack in your niche to join, and then find an event to go to maybe this week and reach out to the organizer, and also the attendee list if you can get it. Pick a couple of these to test out, don't overdo it. If you're not doing a lot of these things right now, be patient with yourself. Try one of them and just be like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then over time, just be patient with it, like I said, and seek some of the discomfort and do what works for you. Okay, so that is what I've got. What are we on time? We're right at 30. Okay.
Why are you holding a banana in that picture, by the way?
Oh, yeah, it's like a joke. It's supposed to be like a cell phone. It's supposed to be funny.
Okay.
We didn't get any service up there.
Awesome, man. If you want to jump off screen share, we'll go back to us, and we have a few questions that are already sort of coming through here. But first off, little applause for you, man. That was great. And I know you, like you said, you've done hour-long versions of this, so thanks for trying to condense it down into an hour's drop time. And we are almost at time, but let's take a question or 2 real quick, and we'll go a little bit over.
Sure.
Let people get out of here. First one from Mark is do you have a less like reality show sort of cheesy way to say make a connection? Like, is there other terminology you use that you feel like feels a little more professional, or I don't know?
I mean, I really like to just provide value to people, right?
That's a good idea.
Do that. Like, just think about the different ways that you provide value in the world. And I like in my longer presentation, I go over that, and I'm actually writing a book right now about this whole thing, which is going to be free. It's going to be a free ebook. So if you're interested in that, I can definitely put you on the list to get that ebook by the end of the year. I would consider all the ways that you provide value in the world. Just like write a big list of that. Write a big list of your experiences, things that you have expertise in, and then think about like how you can genuinely help people. And then with those target personas, you're like, how do I provide value? And instantly, like, people will consider consider a connection with you, if that's what you want to term it as.
And with one of the other questions we had, somebody saying ebook, please. But yeah, we'll make sure Jordan sends that out throughout the nation when he's finished with that book. But last question we'll do real quick is, when it comes to the target personas, do you always stick to one, or do you have like multiple target personas that you want to share with people?
Yeah, I have a bunch. So here's what I would say is that a lot of us get overwhelmed with goal setting, and we get overwhelmed with how many things we want to accomplish. So the reason I only said one was because it allows you to focus on what the most one important thing is and the type of person that will make the most difference in your life. So think about the most grand goal you have, like for this year, for instance, just make it very clear. So the most grand goal you have is blank. Now, what type of person would most help you reach that goal? And start with that person. But yeah, I mean, you would have different types of people like in your personal life that you would look for, like a girlfriend. For me, I would look for a certain type of person in that, but I wouldn't look for that same type of person to help me with my book, for instance.
Awesome. And I feel like there's probably more questions out there, but like Jordan said, he will be available on Slack, so you can always reach out to him there. But we're at time, so I'll let y'all go. And thanks again for joining us for this knowledge drop. Jordan, thanks for your expertise on the subject, man. It's like obvious that you have like a live webinar thing or a video series that you do. You're a really good presenter. So thanks for doing this, man. And I'm sure the nation appreciates it, and it'll be live on the blog soon. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back at this with another knowledge drop in 2 weeks from now.
Awesome.